Greetings, students, and welcome back to the English class. Now, what were we doing? We were doing the Ailing Planet, the Green Movement's Role by Nani Palkiwala. Okay, children. Now, what are we going to do in this chapter? We are going to summarize. We are going to see the causes and the consequences, and what was in the chapter. We will only revise. Okay, children. Now, see. Introduction. The chapter is based upon, what is the chapter based upon? Degrading position of Mother Earth. Our degrading means declining. The present scenario of India is highly deplorable, as a report of Parliament estimates committee highlights near catastrophic depletion of India's forest at the rate of 3.7 million acres a year. Okay. नाउ व्हाट इज़ इट टॉकिंग अबाउट? इट इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट कि कैसे हमारी जो मदर अर्थ है वो क्या हो रही है, डिप्लीट हो रही है, ख़त्म होती जा रही है, और जो हमारी प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो है विच इज़ हाईली डिप्लोरेबल. ठीक है, क्योंकि एक पार्लियामेंट ने एक पार्लियामेंट में जो कमिटीज़ बैठती हैं उन्होंने एक क्या निकाला, एक रिपोर्ट निकाली है अबाउट डिप्लीशन ऑफ इंडियाज़ फॉरेस्ट एट द रेट ऑफ 3.7 मिलियन एकड़ अ ईयर. द आर्टिकल द एलिंग प्लैनेट, और ये जो आर्टिकल है द एलिंग प्लैनेट, द मूवमेंट गवर्नमेंट्स रोल was written by Nani Palkiwala and published in the year 1994. ठीक है, and he wrote an article in the Indian Express and was published on 24th November 1994. तो the Green Movement Role was written by Nani Palkiwala, और कहाँ पर publish हुआ है? The Indian Express में कब? 24th November 1994. Okay. Now let us move on to next slide. And what does it says? Now जो green movements role है वो क्या बोलता है? ठीक है, द ग्रीन मूवमेंट, अ टर्म दैट इंक्लूड्स द कंजर्वेशन एंड ग्रीन पॉलिटिक्स, is a diverse scientific, social and political movement for addressing environmental issues. जो भी environmental issues है, how are they degrading, what are the causes of pollution, diverse scientific, ठीक है, how is population affecting our environment, ठीक है, and how shall we conserve it, ठीक है. This is all in the green movement's role. Now, environmentalists advocate the sustainable management. Now, sustainable management मतलब without harming the sustainable management, और sustainable development का मतलब होता है development, economical development without harming the environment. ठीक है, which in the our future generation would also use the same resources. Okay. Now, environmentalists advocate the sustainable management of resources and stewardship of the environment through changes in public policy and individual behavior. How shall we change our individual behavior? हमें अपना behavior कैसे change करना चाहिए, ठीक है, और क्या क्या policies हैं जो कि formulate होनी चाहिए ताकि क्या है, जो ये sustainable management है ये properly हो सके. In its recognition of humanity as a participant in ecosystem, the movement is centered as ecology, health and human rights. Now, in its recognition of humanity as a participation in ecosystem, जो हम हैं as a participation of ecosystem है children. The movement is centered on ecology. जो ये movement है कहाँ के बारे में? Health के, human rights के बारे में, ecology के बारे में, right? Now, what are the reasons? ठीक है, मैनकाइंड इज नाउ द नंबर 1 causes of all the destruction happening on earth. ठीक है, क्योंकि उसमें बोला गया था कि क्या है, एक केव बनाया गया है और उसमें क्या है, मोस्ट डेंजरस एनिमल उसके बाहर लिखा गया है ना. अब जब वो अंदर जाते हैं तो क्या है, पूरे तरफ शीशे ही शीशे हैं, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, अपनी शक्ल देखते हैं उसमें. ठीक है, तो सबसे डेंजरस एनिमल कौन हुआ? हम हुए. तो क्या रीजन है? हम ह्यूमन बीइंग है. किस चीज़ का? इस डिस्ट्रक्शन का, इस डिप्लीटिंग मदर अर्थ का, एज वेल एज ट्राइंग टू डिस्ट्रॉय ईच अदर ऑन द बैटल फील्ड. वी आर the cause of the series of other disasters, beginning with the industrial exploitation of the resources of the earth. And we are exploiting our mother earth through industrial waste, through industrial pollution that is given out by industries, that is thrown in the rivers. The seas and oceans are being poisoned by chemical products like oil, industrial and human waste, because oil does not it does not mix with water, so we throw it in the sea, right? We throw it in the ocean. Okay, और उससे क्या होता है, we pollute our fishery world also, ठीक है? And human waste excrete, okay, we don't have a how to treat it properly, we throw it in the seas and oceans. Next, now on land, especially in the industrial countries where most waste is actually manufactured, on land, especially in the industrial countries where most waste is actually manufactured, there is increasing little room to bury it. And even when buried, a noxious element leach out and destroy the health of the area. हम क्या करते हैं, जो इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट है ना उसको फेंक देते हैं. We do not properly discard it. Okay, what do we throw it on the land? Now the elements that are oozing out of it, right, that are coming out of it, will actually destroy the health of the land, destroy the environment. And even a greater problem is the disposal of atomic waste, unsafe to dump into the sea, and even more unsafe to bury under the land. ठीक है, और जो atomic waste है, ठीक है, उसको भी हम क्या करते हैं, डिस्पोज नहीं कर पाते हैं ठीक से, राइट, विच इज़ व्हाट हैपनिंग, और एनवायरनमेंट इज गेटिंग depleted, right? Forests are cut down for many reasons, but most of them are related to money or to people's need to provide to their families. So we have talked about fishery, we have talked about wasteland, we have talked about forests, ठीक है, जो कि 4 main ecological प्रॉब्लम थी, ठीक है, मेन सिस्टम में था, राइट? तो जो फॉरेस्ट हैं वो क्या करते हैं, उसको कट कर देते हैं. अब क्यों कट करते हैं? या तो पैसों के लिए, क्योंकि ट्रीज क्या देते हैं हमें, फर्नीचर देंगे, राइट? दे विल बी यूज्ड इन many other things, right? Now children or the people's need to provide to their family, to making housing, to development process, okay, housing facilities should be given. So this all are the reasons to cut down the forest. Now what are the consequences? Consequences means result. What is the result? This has resulted in widespread ongoing extension of other species during the present geological epoch, now known as Holocene extension. ठीक है, अब क्या है, स्पीशीज, क्योंकि ये हम इतना ज़्यादा क्या कर रहे हैं, गंदगी कर रहे हैं चिल्ड्रन, हम इतनी ज़्यादा चीज़ों को मिसयूज़ कर रहे हैं, राइट? तो ये क्या चीज़ें हो रही हैं, दे आर गेटिंग एक्सटिंक्ट, दे आर गेटिंग फिनिश्ड. The large-scale loss of species caused by human influence since the 1915s has been called a biotic crisis, which has, with an estimated 10% of the total species lost as of 2007. At current rates, about 30% of species are at risk of extinction in the next 100 years. ठीक है, तो ये सारी जो डिटेलिंग है, ये consequences है. What are the problems? What are the consequences? Again, the next consequences is, in the present day, human activity has had a significant impact on the surface of the planet. ठीक है, कोई भी क्या बोलते हैं, ह्यूमन एक्टिविटी. मोर देन अ थर्ड ऑफ द लैंड सर्विस हैव बीन मॉडिफाइड फ्रॉम ह्यूमन एक्शंस, एंड ह्यूमंस यूज अबाउट 20% of global primary production. Right? The Holocene extension event is the result of habitat destruction, the widespread distribution of invasive species, hunting, and climate change. The concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased by close to 30% since the start of industrial revolution. तो इतनी ज़्यादा changes आ चुकी हैं, right? Present condition of the earth. Now earth's present condition is that there is a damaged state, and under the threat from the dangers include those arising from global warming. These threats include greenhouse gases, drought and floods, hunger and famine, and devastating disease such as malaria and AIDS. Some expert scientists are calling for carbon taxes to cut the risk. Damage from flooding alone could run into billions of dollars as creeks and estuaries begging to fill up and more ice melt. Now, climate change is seen by some scientists to present the biggest threat to our world today. Okay, the whole world needs to affect remedial strategies by cooperating. Levels of gases such as carbon dioxide are rising till, and we are still at risk from deforestation and the burning of fossil fuels. Greenhouse gases may cause the world to warm up as heat cannot escape effectively from the surface of the planet. All of this might throw the natural rhythms of our world's climate. That's where we are at right now. Okay, now the future of the earth. As the world consumes ever more fossil fuel energy, greenhouse gases concentration will increase to rise and Earth's average temperature will rise with them. Global warming will result in more hot days and fewer cold days, with the greatest warming happening over land. Longer, more intense heat waves will happen more often. High latitudes and generally wet places will tend to receive more rainfall, while tropical regions and general dry places will probably receive less rain. Increase in rainfall will come, ecosystems will shift as those plants and animals that adapt the quickest will move into new areas to compete with currently established species. Those species that cannot adapt quickly enough will face extinction. A scientist notes with increasing concern the 21st century could see one of the greatest periods of mass extinction of species in Earth's entire history. Then ultimately global warming will impact life on Earth in many ways, but the extent of change is up to us. The form of bigger, wetter storms rather than in the form of more rainy days. In between those larger storms will be longer periods of light or no rain, so the frequency and severity of drought will increase. Buying now the measures to be taken. Okay. Now, what are the measures to be taken? Buying and using fluorescent light bulbs, turning off lights and other electronic equipment when we leave a room. Avoid using chemical pesticides or fertilizers in your yard and garden. Many fertilizers are the source of nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas that contribute to global warming. Try organic products instead. Waste food material, paper, decaying vegetables and plastic should not be thrown into open drains. Keep your vehicles well maintained. A poor maintained engine would create more air pollution and use more fuel. Replace oil and air filters regularly. Keep your tires properly inflated. Right, drive less and drive smart. Less driving means fewer emission. Besides saving gasoline, walking and biking are more great forms of experience. Explore your community mass transit system and check your options for carpooling to work or school. When you do drive, make sure your car is running efficiently. For example, keeping your tires properly inflated can improve your gas mileage by more than 3%. Every gallon of gas you save not only helps your budget, it also keeps 20 pounds of carbon dioxide out of atmosphere. Now the message: the future of humanity will depend on how we steward the resources of land, of soil, of water and sea, and pass them on to future generation. I wish I go to earth. This will be our condition. Okay, always love our earth. Now thank you children. I hope you could understand this chapter more properly. Okay, okay. ठीक है children, now you need to let in the next class we will do the question and answers.